President Obama will speak from the Oval Office tonight at 7. He'll discuss the broader threat of terrorism, how it's evolved, and what the U.S. is doing to combat it. It is not clear if the president will address the larger issue of gun violence and the epidemic of mass shootings, including the massacre at the Planned Parenthood clinic in Colorado Springs just 10 days ago. Robert Deere is in custody. Colorado governor labeled the attack that left 3 dead a form of terrorism. Security at Planned Parenthood clinics around the country and here in Minnesota continues to be tight. The Minnesota chapter of Planned Parenthood has 19 clinics in Minnesota and the Dakotas and is one of the largest chapters in the country. Joining us this morning is the president and CEO of Minnesota Planned Parenthood, Sarah Stoesz. Thank you so much for coming in.
Pleasure to be here.
All right. As far as you're concerned, do you think that the president should address the shootings at Planned Parenthood and other incidents and link those to what some people are calling domestic terrorism?
Well, I don't know if it's domestic terrorism or not. Obviously, we know that the shooter did refer to baby parts and that he has a history of violence toward women, and so it's likely that this is not just sort of a spontaneous or random kind of thing, but is linked to the broader rise in anti-Planned Parenthood and anti-women's health rhetoric in the country. So I do think it would be helpful if the president addressed that, and we're certainly doing a lot of thinking about it ourselves.
Well, the baby parts that suspect Robert Deere said and talked about briefly is clearly appears to be a reference to those very controversial videos that were edited that appear to show Planned Parenthood personnel selling fetal tissue samples. What do you have to say about those controversial videos?
Those videos have long been completely debunked, Esme. They have been repeatedly shown to have no basis in reality whatsoever. You know, as I have repeatedly made clear, here in Minnesota, we have never had a fetal tissue donation program. Not that there's anything wrong with it, because fetal tissue research has been very, very good for humankind and has produced, you know, a number of important vaccinations and other kinds of research. We don't do it here in Minnesota. The videos have created this whole political justification for going after Planned Parenthood.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, the Senate just voted to defund Planned Parenthood.
That's
I know
right.
The president has said he will veto it. What would it mean if Planned Parenthood was defunded, if you were not able to move forward with the work you do? What would that mean to people here in Minnesota?
Well, here in Minnesota, we provide services to 65,000, roughly, women and men. By the way, about 12% of our patients are men. And so we provide reproductive health care services to them. That would be cancer screenings, basic birth control, basic reproductive health care testing, and treatment for sexually transmitted infections. And the important thing is that we do this without charging money to people who can't afford to pay for it. So it's really important that people be able to continue to get these services.
Opponents of abortion have made that the focus of their campaign against Planned Parenthood. What percentage of your procedures, your patients, are there in Minnesota, in the Dakotas, getting an abortion?
Roughly 3% of our patients are there for abortion services, but I do want to make it clear that we're not embarrassed about that, and we don't back away from that in any way. Just because it's a small percentage of what we do doesn't mean it's not an important percentage of what we do. So it's just very fundamental to a woman's ability to have an equal place at life's table, that she be able to access all forms of reproductive health care, including abortion.
And I think some people might be surprised that it's only 2 of your 19 clinics that offer abortions.
Right.
Do you think people understand that?
No, I think they probably don't understand that. On the other hand, 1 in 5 women in this country has been a Planned Parenthood patient. So most women who come through our doors are there for basic birth control and reproductive health services, not abortion. But abortion, of course, is an important piece, no doubt about it.
All right. Well, Sarah Stoesz, thank you so much for
You're
joining us.
welcome.
We certainly appreciate it.
Nice to be here.